you brought up the prosecutions of Trump. I think it's over.
It is. 100%.
I think it's so.
Yeah.
I think you have people back there kind of clutching their pearl necklace that are totally delusional. That honest to God, as they're watching, they're thinking, well, something's going to happen. Something bad's going to happen. Somebody's going to throw him in jail. Talk about how ridiculous that is.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to happen. Look, Jack Smith has already cleaned out his office. He's gotten the hell out of town. And they're going to remove all of these charges. And guess what, folks? If they don't, Trump's just going to pardon himself. And he'll use the Hunter Biden thing as the excuse for that. He'll do it anyway, but he now has this as the, I'm only doing it because this guy did. And the media will go along with it. The media is the worst part. They will play
media,
that.
Based on what the New York Times is disgusting to me.
I think they all are at this point.
But the New York Times is particularly disgusting. If somebody doesn't take leadership of the New York Times, they're not going to be around 5 years from now. And I say that because of the very thing you were talking about. There are 13 articles on the pardon. Well, there's never been anybody that supported this president and denied day after day that he was going to pardon anybody. Editorial after editorial, we love Biden because he's not going to pardon anybody. They look like a bunch of morons. Why? Because ideology got in the way, Farron. The very thing that we talk about all the time. I don't have any ideology. I really don't. I'm not an ideologue to the left, ideologue to the right. I really am not. But as I watch what the New York Times has done, they've put themselves in such a terrible situation here. Now, he can't pardon himself in state court. You understand?
Right.
He can't do that. But if you look at the underpinnings of those state court claims, they're almost laughable. I mean, the way that the prosecutor went into the grand jury room, the stuff that's coming out of there, how they hustled the grand, it's almost ridiculous.
Well, I think what's going to happen is that, at least in New York, where we already have the convictions, I do think Merchan is going to toss them. The judge up there.
I think
he's not going to keep them in place because what are his options if he keeps the convictions? Is okay. I'll see you back here in 4.5 years for your sentencing.
He won't even be around. This judge won't be around 4 years from now.
Trump may not be around. I mean, he's not the healthiest guy either. So it's not going to happen. And then in Georgia, where actually they do have I think the Georgia case has always been a bit of the strongest one. But you have a system of Republicans in there that have already kneecapped it to the point where there's now it has been indefinitely delayed long before the election because they're investigating Fani Willis and they're investigating everything else involved in it. It'll be tossed too because they're going to realize we can't bring this guy down here while he's president and we're not going to wait 4.5 years.
Let me tell you what will stand. I think the civil case is going to stand, not the $454 million. That's gone. Appellate court's going to take, you talk about a hustle by the people that prosecuted that case. Everybody on Wall Street was looking at this case, Farron, okay? What they were trying to say is that he faked and phonied up documents and increased the value. There's nobody on Wall Street that doesn't do that. If the appellate court would verify this and they were let this stand, you would see disaster on Wall Street. There's no way that's going to stand. I believe that the other civil cases, what was it? How much was he hit for the sexual abuse?
85.
85. I believe that's going to stand. It might be reduced a little bit. That was a pretty clean case from what I could see. But the civil suit on the $454 million, it's going to be reversed.
It's actually funny you say that about because I've always said I do believe E. Jean Carroll. Nothing against her. I think she's good. I think that if he had even hired a somewhat competent lawyer to defend him in that case, I think he could have won.
We watched it.
He called her a liar, and now he has to pay $85 million. I mean that is such like the bare minimum to even maybe meet the defamation threshold. And again, I agree with her. I'm glad she won. But she lucked out because he picks the worst lawyers God has ever seen.
I totally agree. He's going to pay some money for that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, he's going to pay. But the 454, gone. The criminal cases, gone. It's just, but what kills me is you have these delusional, these starry-eyed, folks clutching their pearl necklace saying, something's going to happen. No, it ain't going to happen.
I get people that message me and say, Farrett, he's a convicted felon. That means he can't be president. I'm like, no, what are you talking? Yes, he can.
Yeah.
Like he could have become president even if he was currently serving time behind bars.
That's right.
Why do people not understand this? Look,
because they want to believe it. They hate Trump so badly. Look, the votes that Kamala Harris got were not for Kamala. They were against Trump. Okay, those were votes against Trump. I think if you turn that around and say, what about on the Trump side? I think most of those votes were for Trump. They were for that kind of change that they're looking for. But they hate the guy. And it's killing them as they're watching and they're praying, oh, God, isn't something bad going to happen? No, nothing bad in the court of law is going to happen to this guy. Let it go. I mean, why can't you just say, let it go?